Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me this morning for our Phenomenal Females workshop. I'm really excited about this one because we're actually going to work through a few of the steps together. So if you do have any questions, there's the little buttons you can pop or just wave your hands around. I'll see you at the top of the screen and we'll jump in and have a little conversation about it. Because if you've got questions about something, it's likely someone else is curious about it as well. So rather than me just kind of talking at you, I'm going to give you all of the information, but I want you to ask questions and things like that. Because the idea of this workshop or this masterclass is that you actually walk away at the end of it with a bit of an action plan, with at least one strategy, ideally a couple, but at least one strategy that you can implement straight away today that's going to help you to feel amazing, to optimize your health, to feel like a phenomenal female. So the few key areas that we're going to cover today are nutrition. So we're going to touch through nutrition and a few simple strategies that you can use to actually get the most out of your nutrition. So whether that's absorption of various nutrients and things like that, we're going to touch on. So this is fairly generalized. If you've got any specific questions, as I mentioned, please put your hand up and ask. Or we can do private health coaching sessions where we actually knuckle down on specific things that you need. But these are really going to step you in the right direction. Then we're going to go through daily movement, physical activity, and exercise. They're not the same. They are different things. So we're going to go through each of those: daily movement, physical activity, and exercise. Then we're going to go through some rest and relaxation. Oh yeah, none of this, I don't have time for that. And I feel like quarantine has given everyone a little bit of a visual of that, of the things that we often say we don't have time for. When we do have this extra time, so even though some of us are still working and things like that, we're still spending more time at home. We're not as out and about as much. So we have this extra time at home, but how have you actually chosen to utilize that time? So what is it that you prioritize in your life? Because quite often the things that we say we don't have time for are just things that we don't have a priority for right now. So we'll touch on the rest and relaxation. And then we're going to go through reducing toxic load. So the environmental factors that are having an impact on your health and some simple strategies there. And then self-care. So I love this, baby. Simple ways to implement self-care, especially for anyone joining us that are moms, because we always are like, self-care, what's that? I think I could, if I had $1 for every time a mom said that to me, I would be doing this on a in a resort in Hawaii. No, maybe actually here in the Whitsundays. I'd be hanging out on the beach all day doing this. So mums, we do have time to self-care, and I'm going to give you some simple ways and strategies that you can make it happen, and ways that you're probably already doing it, but you're not actually acknowledging it as self-care as yet. Hey Tash and friend, hello. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just going through a brief of what we're going to outline, and we're going to jump in. So if you have your notes handy, you can follow along, but if not, you can jump back in and open those up later on. I am going to screen share with you that workbook so that you can follow it along with me. Now, I wonder if I can actually, can I do that? All right. Are you seeing my screen? So are you seeing more than just me? Perfect. Awesome. So we're going to start here. So firstly, congratulations for taking the first step, for coming along, for joining me, for being here, and for having an open mind as to what a healthy lifestyle looks like. I have so many people that often look at the lifestyle maybe that I live and find it overwhelming, but I didn't just wake up one day and have a healthy lifestyle. It's been years of trialing things and adapting things, of being single, of being a partner, of being a mom. So all of these things are going to change throughout different lifestyle factors that are going to change for you, different jobs, all of those kinds of things have an impact. We're going to go through some of those really core things that you can implement, make them daily habits, non-negotiables, so that regardless of what happens, when you fall off the bandwagon, when you feel like, you know, those few extra glasses of wine have crept in, or the takeaways have become a little bit more often, these are the things that you can come back to, that are the new norm, and it becomes easier to step back into that. So it's not about being perfect all the time. I like wine too. So we are going to move through this one, and we're going to start here. So basically, congratulations again for choosing to live a proactive and healthy lifestyle. So creating a happy and healthy life that you love, and it will leave you feeling empowered and just open the door to all the possibilities that are around you. So whether that's mental, emotional, physical, but these possibilities just start to come up everywhere, and you become excited about them because you're now in a better emotional, physical, and mental state. So we're going to touch a lot on low tox living, and this is about creating a low tox lifestyle. And by that, I mean just actively choosing personal care, household products that are low in chemicals, food and physical activity that are going to help to process those and excrete them, making conscious healthcare decisions, appropriate detoxifications, and reducing radiation, toxic exposures, and things like that. So it sounds a little overwhelming, but I promise you, these step by step as we go through is going to really simplify it. So what we want to do is create the foundation of a healthy lifestyle, and my idea of a happy, healthy lifestyle is going to look different to yours. So again, although we have those foundations of a healthy lifestyle, what is going to make me happy about it, and the parts of my healthy lifestyle that I enjoy, could be things that you don't like. So the physical activity might be something you struggle with, or getting in the kitchen and cooking might be something you struggle with. So there's going to be a few different areas, and it's just picking. You don't have to pick your weakest spot to start with. So that's another thing that I like to encourage people, is when we go through and we're going to rate ourselves, you don't have to start with the hardest part. If you enjoy cooking and that looks okay, but you know you could fine tune it, maybe you would play with that first, because that's going to build your confidence. If you hate exercise, you might start to implement little bits of it, but that's not going to be your whole focus, because straight up, you're going to hate this healthy lifestyle thing. So pick things that you enjoy doing, and you're going to work through those, and the hard things will start to feel easier, I promise. All right, so let's start with a little self-assessment. Now you can write this down if you can, or you can just think about it as we go through. So you're going to rate yourself on starting at the bottom. So on a scale of 1 as you haven't really thought much about it, it's not a big priority in your life, and to 10, I've got 2 there, totally nailing it. So up to 10. 10 means it's a part of your life that you're totally nailing and you feel really confident and strong at. So honestly, for me, never, these areas are not very often a 10. So don't be worried about that. So you would start with, so eating right. Let's start at the bottom of the pyramid. So eating right. How do you feel about nutrition? How do you feel about eating? And again, we've been in this semi-lockdown kind of thing. So what is your normal for eating right might be a little bit different for now. But let's say as these restrictions are easing for us, I think most of the girls on at the moment are local, but as these start to ease, as the restrictions are easing, how do you feel about eating right? Is that something that you've been nailing during this time, or is it something you need to work on? On a scale of 1 to 10. Then we've got exercise on a scale of 1 to 10, something you don't even think about, you never do, or 10, you are hitting the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I'm definitely not saying 7, because the other end of the scale is that you're hitting the gym 7 days a week, maybe twice a day, and you're doing way overtraining, because that's going to be super detrimental to your health too. So on a happy scale. And we've got rest and relaxation. How much priority do you put around your sleep? How much priority do you put around your nighttime routine? Then we've got reducing toxic load. Is that something that you've even thought about? Are you actively choosing natural products where you can? And then we've got self-care. Do you prioritize any parts of self-care? And then proactive medical care. So if you're starting to look at things on a deeper cellular level, so and reducing inflammation, you're focusing on reducing the risk of chronic illnesses and things like that. So a proactive medical care approach as such. So if you've all had a little think about that as I go through. Perfect. So we're going to come back to this part here. So this is a little brief over what we're going to do. You can fill this one in now if you like as well. And these 2 pages are parts you're going to come back to as we go through each of the topics. So first up, we've got the action plan. So when you start becoming aware of what you and your family are consuming internally, externally, through breathing, so the environmental toxins, through the skin, what you're putting on your body, eating, you really do start to feel empowered, and it gets easier as you start to learn things. It becomes simpler as well. So it can seem quite overwhelming for a start. So we want it to be simple. We don't want it to be hard work. And it will all just start to fall into place. And we're going to start with what is your true why. So what drives you? What are you passionate about? And what truly lights you up? So when we think about living a healthy lifestyle, what intrigued you, or what maybe brought you to even this webinar to listen in, or what has inspired you to start looking a little bit deeper into your health? Sometimes it could be an event that's triggered it, so your own health issues or a family member's health issues, and that's actually what really set us on a trajectory of health coaching as such. We were already involved in health coaching and personal training and things like that. And that was my job, and we had a holistic approach to health. But what really set us on this massive trajectory of it, or why I'm sitting here teaching, is actually because we had 3 immediate family members diagnosed with various cancers within a matter of 6 to 12 months. And some of these were genetic, which means that, and on my husband's side, which means that him and my boys could have these genetic markers. So for us, it really set us on this deep dive of what we could do to minimize environmentally, internally, the possibility of these chronic illnesses coming into play later on. So then we're going to go, what does a healthy lifestyle look and feel like for you? So write down, how do you act? What on a daily basis, what does your life really look like? How do you act? What does your day look like? What are you eating? How do you move? What does it feel like to move? How do you treat people that you love? What does your environment look like? So what does a healthy lifestyle actually look like for you? So again, that could look very different to what my healthy lifestyle actually looks like. And I do encourage you to take a moment to write these down. It doesn't have to be right now, but as we're working through these, or even if you come back to them later and write them down, I would love that. And even if you want to take a photo and send it to me personally, because I love reading these. What would you like to feel more or less of? And what does life feel and look like to you right now? Is it low energy? Is it crappy sleep? Is it you feel like you've got a bunch of negative people around you maybe? What does it look like at the moment, and what would you like to feel more or less of? Would you like more support? Would you like more energy? Would you like better sleep? Just some of those factors to start to think about. Okay, so then we're going to work through the action plan, and the 3 key parts to each section we're going to go through is a healthy habit, a trigger, and a reward. So here, and you might not do all of these, it might just be an area that you really want to focus on. You don't have to do them all at once. Ideally, you would just pick 1, maybe 2. So this is what that's going to look like. And this is kind of going to be your page to come back to. So we're going to go through some nutritional factors. I'm going to go through those in a moment. And this is about how do you fuel your body for life's adventures. So you're going to pick maybe one of the things I talk about. If this topic is important to you, you're going to pick one of the things I talk about as a healthy habit and implement that. So you might go, oh, that's awesome. I could easily do that. That's going to be my new healthy habit. So you're going to write that down. You're going to write down a trigger or when, which will become more apparent as I'm reading through. But say, for example, it's drinking more water. You're like, yep, I need to do that, definitely, and it's easy to do. So I'm going to write down, I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to drink 2 liters of water a day. Your trigger or when, so it might be that you've got a drink bottle that's got the time on it. It might be that every time you reach for the coffee machine, you've got a nice big bottle of water there. It might be, that you've got notes on your computer or reminders on your phone. You're going to think of a trigger or when to make sure you actually implement this habit, and then a reward. So the reward can be as simple as how you feel, saying something nice to yourself. It can be that you get to do something, or you get to buy yourself something at the end of a certain amount of time. It can be anything. It can be really simple rewards that you're going to associate with that habit. Okay, so we're going to do that for each of the topics, but you're just going to pick whichever topic is relevant for you to actually fill that in. All right. Speaking of water, so we're going to start with nutrition. So what role does nutrition play on living a low toxic lifestyle and really creating or enhancing your healthy life? So nutrition is fuel for your body, and actually visualizing everything you put into your mouth as fueling your body is one way or another step towards conscious eating. So I find this really valuable, and if you are in my happy healthy lifestyle group, you'll see a lot of the foods that I post, or when I'm posting recipes or my foods. I'm a serial pest at following recipes, by the way, so I apologize for that in advance. I am like, yeah, I'm following this recipe to a T, and then I get halfway through and I'm like, ooh, but some collagen powder or mushroom powder would be really nutritious in this. But that is how I've actually programmed myself to increase our nutrition. That's a habit that I've picked up along the way, and it's from always encouraging myself to think about and visualize nutrition or food that we eat as actual fuel for our body and what I want to achieve. So whether that is getting rid of brain fog and really stimulating that brain, that mental capacity to be able to learn, to be able to present, whether it's the energy that I can bring to people around me, to my work, to coaching, to all of these kinds of things, whether it's really showing up for my family and for the kids, the daily bike rides, and I've got 2 little boys and they're so full of energy. So how I want to show up and how I want to live is really important, that I'm fueling my body in the right way. So if you actually visualize the food that you're eating as fuel for your body, this can be a really beneficial way of consciously selecting foods or consciously being aware of what you're consuming. Now, good food doesn't have to be boring. I also love food, so it really doesn't have to be boring. And so many times you can, you see people that are eating, gluten-free cardboard food or gluten-free breads from the shop, and most of them taste like cardboard or taste like crap. They do. There is a few that are good, but you usually have to trial and error a few beforehand. But it doesn't have to be like that. There can be super simple substitutes, and there's also so many amazing healthy recipes out there as well. So you're going to get out of your body whatever you put in. So fuel your body to thrive. Now, a few tips working towards this. So toxic chemicals on our fruit and vegetables. This is one way that can be one thing that can be a real struggle for people. If you feel like you're eating really well, and weight loss or fat loss is probably one that I come across a lot with females, and they feel like they're eating all the good foods and they're doing all the right things and nothing's budging and they're not really getting anywhere. So a lot of the times it's underlying issues. Most of the time, majority of the time, it's some kind of underlying issue. And it could be hormones, stress, which are going to be interconnected as well. That's probably the biggest one, is stress, environmental toxins, and all of that. Now, one of those things that actually can contribute to a form of stress on the body is toxin-laden fruit and veg. Now, this is going to be hormone disrupting for the body, and in turn increase the stresses on the body as well. So whether it's mental and emotional stress, that's going to be amplified. That inflammation is going to be amplified by having toxic chemicals in our fruit and veg. And unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to avoid. So in that whole process, the fruit and vegetables that we're eating in modern day is very laden with toxic chemicals. And if you're trying to eat organic as much as possible, for us here locally, you can very quickly and easily find yourself eating the same foods. So it's finding that balance of getting enough variety and color and finding ways sometimes to be creative versus eating the same foods. I know if I'm going to the organic section in the fruit and veggies, here at the local shops, it's pretty much the same 4 or 5 vegetables every week that I go in there. So although we're eating organically, we're not getting that variety if we're always eating those. So stepping outside that sometimes is necessary, and there's ways that you can still protect yourself. So the whole process from the fruit and vegetables from being grown before they get to us, there's so many opportunities or so many areas along that way that they actually become contaminated. So this is from the soil, enhancing and growing the food, pesticides and other chemicals used to protect the food from animals and various bacteria. We've got the storing process, because they're usually going from Melbourne up to Townsville, back down to Brisbane before they even get to us in the Sundays, which is absolutely crazy. I was only talking to someone about this the other day. And we've got so the storing process, there's going to be some form of chemicals that are used in that. And in an attempt to keep food fresh while traveling, the storage, that shiny red apple on the shelf probably did not fall. Well, it did not fall off the tree as that very shiny red apple. So, you will see that when you wash your fruit and veggies, which I've got a cool little recipe down there to show you. But when you do it, if you actually just scrape your fingernail across an apple, the amount of stuff under your fingernails, the amount of wax under the fingernails, you can literally just see it peeling off. It's crazy. And most of the time people are consuming this. So the other factor is soil depletion. So soil depletion has a big role in our overall ability to consume and absorb enough nutrients, let alone minimum requirements of nutrients, vitamins, minerals on a daily basis. So we need that variety of fruit and vegetables and the quality, but also the quality within the soil. And because of mass production, we're getting less and less of these nutrients from the soil that the vegetables are actually being grown in as well. So, and quite a big effort needs to go into that soil preparation of circulating different kinds of vegetables through that same area and things like that. Whereas generally, if we have a tomato farm, it might only be tomatoes being grown there. And this is not for all companies. This is just a generalization. A big generalization. So a few things of what we can actually do to enhance nutrition. So I was going to touch on the whole like sugar aspect, processed foods, fats and oils and things like that, but there is so much involved in that. And I think that generally we probably sometimes need that little reminder to minimize, if not eliminate, sugar as much as possible. But I also actually just wanted to mention that if, to be honest, if I was given the opportunity, or I was being forced maybe to eat some hot chips that had been fried up in vegetable oil, regular, like fish and chip shop hot chips, or a tub of fairy floss, I would eat the tub of fairy floss over the hot chips. I'm looking at Nat's face. Everyone's like, so sugar is going to enhance inflammation in the body, yes. But the way that the body is actually processed, I know I'm not going to do this on a daily basis, but if I was forced it one day to do that, I'd be taking that the fairy floss, because I know that I can do an intense workout, I can burn it off, that sugar can be converted, not ideally in that form, but I'm going to be able to process it and eliminate it from my body. The oils that are used in our foods you cannot just do a workout and get rid of it. It's not just processed through the body and excreted. It goes straight to our neurons. It's affecting our brain cells, and it affects our capacity to create new neurons. It eats away the protective barrier in our neurons in the brain, and it has a really big effect on our ability to actually process and create new neurons in the brain. It affects the way we absorb nutrients through the brain, and it affects the way that hormones are created and leveled out in the brain as well. So that's not something that you can easily change or get rid of in the body. It's pretty well, once it's consumed, it's affecting our body and our brain, especially in a negative way, very quickly. So when I talk about these kind of oils, I'm talking about oils such as canola oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oils, what else? Any of these other kinds of mainstream oils, especially vegetable oils, and canola oils even, they're in like a lot of the foods that you eat. I'm looking for the oils most of the time. That's one of the first things I look at. Now, I challenge you to this, that next time you go into the shops, to have a look at the wraps that you're buying, see what oils are used in those. The nuts, so that bag of macadamia nuts that's just macadamia nuts, check the back of those. They are hidden in a lot of the foods that we eat. And people are becoming so much more aware of sugar and the hidden sugars and processed things in our food. But oils are having the biggest, creating the biggest amount of inflammation within the body and detrimental effects to the body and brain that we're not really acknowledging enough yet. So I challenge you to look at that. I wasn't going to go into that so deeply, but the look on Nat's face when I said I would consume sugar over hot chips, so I had to have a little chat about that. It's something that is niggling at me at the moment, so you'll probably see some stuff on my page a little bit more in depth about that. But when it comes to nutrition, it really is about opening your eyes, looking at the bigger picture, and doing the best you can for now, okay? It's not going to be perfect all of the time, but it's working on different things at different stages and doing what works for you. So ways that we can actually help to reduce the inflammation in the body from things that are hidden in our foods. If we're really looking after ourselves as much as we can, our body is going to do its best to fight those kinds of inflammation. So few things: drink enough water, and lots of water. So honestly, I can't even stress this enough. And so many people I have that actually come into our gym that will say that come in with back pain, probably one of the most common, coming with lower back pain. The first question you can ask any single one of our members in our gym, the first thing I ask them is, how much water have you drank in the last 3 days? Not today, not yesterday, in the last 3 days, how much water have you consumed? And almost every time it's, oh, actually I've been traveling these last 2 days, or I've been doing this, or I've been sitting in aircon, it's been cold, I haven't thought about it. And it's usually, that's one of the first things. So everything in our body needs water to function optimally. So drinking enough water is really important. I love adding, I've got lots of my oily friends on here, so I do love adding a citrus oil to my water. It's going to help with digestion. There's obviously 0 calories and sugars and things like that in it. Now, they're a good kind of oil. They're not your vegetable canola oil, so they're okay to consume. And they are going to help to fight inflammation in the body. Something like your lemon or green mandarin is really high in limonene. So this is going to be really great in supporting the body's functions. Okay, so we've got drinking lots of water. Then we've got nutrient-dense food and gut-healthy fermented foods. So if you're not incorporating these kinds of foods into your eating habits now, this is another really simple way that you can support the gut and the gut functions. Again, it's not one I'm going to dive into because it's a whole world of its own when we come to gut health, but it's definitely a way that you can really help to fight inflammation in the body and to have you feeling amazing really quickly. It's just by adding some fermented foods, some bone broth, maximizing your nutrient content with a good quality supplement. So I do use the Lifelong Vitality supplements from doTERRA. If you can find a really good quality supplement, not one off the shelf basically, either I always suggest either from the naturopath or these are the ones that I take. Look, diving into the scientific formulation of a supplement is really important as well, how it's formulated, why each of the ingredients are in there. If you are curious about Lifelong Vitality supplements, Chantal, who is a pharmacist and a functional diagnostic nutritionist, Chantal Huntnan, has actually done a deep dive into the different ingredients into those. It's a really great watch. Shout out if you want to link to that one. And then we've got a good quality pro and prebiotic. Again, I take the PB Assist, but you can only buy that from the US. Otherwise a naturopathic one. Now with a probiotic, I do like to alternate mine. So I take different brands each month generally. So I usually alternate between 1, 2, maybe 3 brands. And that's because each probiotic has different strains of bacteria in it. And we've got billions and billions and billions of gut bacteria. And most probiotics have anywhere from a really good quality one's got anywhere from like 9 to 20 different strains of bacteria, but we've got billions. So alternating that is going to alternate the different strains that you're supporting. Now, probiotic is populating the gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria, and a prebiotic is feeding that gut bacteria. So you want to take probiotics to populate, or probiotic fueled foods to populate the gut bacteria. The more diverse your gut bacteria, the more resilient your body will be. So the more resilient, the stronger in immune function, brain, fighting inflammation, all of those kinds of things. So we want a diverse gut bacteria, but we need to feed those goodies as well. So in the same way we want to feed the good bacteria, the bad bacteria will also be fed from foods that you're eating as well. Now, that's whichever of those bacteria become stronger, they will actually influence your cravings. So when you're craving things like sugar, if you've been on a bit of a sugar binge or something like that, and you can feel yourself craving sugars, that means you've probably been feeding those baddie bacteria a little bit too much sugar, and now they're growing stronger than your goodie bacteria. So you need to feed up those goodies again so they get stronger. So we've got those supplements, a digestive support supplement if you need so as well. Any questions about fermented foods, bone broth, supplements, anything like that? All good? Perfect. Awesome. And then we've got eating the rainbow. So we come back to this so many times, but I find myself still sometimes over the course of a week or so, I'm looking at a plate and I'm like, there's not so much color on that. So I'm back to eating the rainbow. So it's a really simple way for you to look at the plate when you finish plating up a meal, have a look at how much color is in there. And you can get creative with that, just adding things like beetroot, purple cabbage, pomegranates, lots of reds and blues, something green, something yellow or orange. You're going to get that different nutrients. So the different colors of food is going to give you different kinds of nutrients. What I forgot, I've already talked, populating gut bacteria, awesome. Okay, so the important thing is that we're creating or we're consuming all of these nutrients within the body and that we're able to actually absorb them because they're going to support everything that we do. They're going to support our body systems, brain function and health. Now, I talk a lot about this because we often think of food as fueling our body physically, but brain fog is something that I've been asked about so much, so often, and cognitive function is something that I personally have been really focusing on these last few months. So that's a really important one. Physical health, energy, mood, hormone balancing, all of those kinds of things. Okay, then we've got washing your produce. Fill the sink. So this is a little recipe for you. If you don't already wash your produce, wash your produce. So I fill the sink with cold water, add half a cup of apple cider vinegar and 6 to 10 drops of lemon essential oil. You could use any other citrus oil that's high in limonene because that's actually going to help to break down the bacteria, break down the pesticides and things like that on your fruit and vegetables. Leave them to soak. 20 minutes is about the ideal timing for soaking vegetables. Then rinse, store and use. They stay so much fresher all week. We're led to believe that they coat them in this stuff to make it look and stay fresher. It looks fresher on the shelf for a few days, but it lasts so much longer once you've washed all that crap off it. I also have now started adding in like a couple of tablespoons of bicarb soda as well, because that does help to break down all the crappy pesticides as well. Another really good way of adding nutrient density into your diet, I don't really like to use the word diet, into your lifestyle, because whatever foods you're choosing to eat and consume for optimal health is a lifestyle choice, and that is going to change. So following certain things and how your body reacts to certain foods will change over time, and there's different requirements. So you've got all your typical eating plans like your keto and things like that. That might be, and paleo and things like that. We follow a fairly paleo-ish sort of protocol in basically just fruit, veggies, meats, nuts, all of those kinds of things. Basically just eliminating all the external stuff. Or your preservatives and processed foods and different oils and things. But regardless of that, that does change at different times. So especially with females at different times of the month, you're going to require different kinds of nutrients. As we age and we go through different hormonal cycles there, it's going to change. Your lifestyle factors are going to contribute. How physically activity you are is going to contribute to what nutrients you're consuming. And then you've got things like fasting that you might choose to implement as well. So that again is a whole other topic, but if you are interested in that, it's something that will be coming up shortly, and I'll be doing probably a bit more of a webinar on how to implement fasting in an effective and proper way. So all of those different kinds of things are going to come about at different times of your life. Now, another cool way that we increase nutrients in our lifestyle is through smoothies. This is a nice, easy way if you do feel like you haven't been consuming enough vegetables and fruits. Loading them up with vegetables, fruits, fats, good fats, avocados, coconut oil, butter, ghee, things like that. For added nutrient density. So I like to add some ginger and lemon essential oil for that as well, for extra digestive and immune support. Cool. So there's 5 little tips on how you can increase better nutrition in the body, whether it's for better physical function, reducing inflammation, different things like that. Is there something in there that you're not doing now that is easy for you to implement if nutrition is something you wanted to look at? Cool, we're good. Excellent. Okay, so next one we're going to move through is daily movement and physical activity and exercise. So why and what is the difference? Let me have a sip of water. So having some kind of movement, physical activity in your body is really important for reducing toxic load and creating a healthy lifestyle. And in so many different ways. Yes, we've got the actual physical side of it, increasing bone density, muscular structure. It makes us feel good. It releases endorphins. It helps to balance hormones. And it also plays a big role on eliminating toxins, minimizing inflammation, all of these kinds of things on the body. So it's more than just being fit. And it's very much how we structure our programming for our clients at our studio as well, is that we structure their exercise regimes around health. Yes, if they've got fitness goals, then we can bake that into the programming as well, but it's very much about health, moving well for longer. Now, the difference between these, we've got daily movement. Daily movement is a 5 to 10 minute morning, 5 to 10 minute routine performed ideally in the morning, but it's sometimes throughout the day and sometimes throughout the day as required. So this is literally like 2, 3 or 4 movements that feel good, create space in the body, and that stimulates the lymphatic system, so helps to flush out toxins and get the blood flow going. It's going to create better hydration in the body as well, especially if we team it straight after a drink of water. So you're actually going to be able to absorb that extra water that you're drinking. And that specifically is beneficial if you're someone that does want to increase their water intake and you feel that by doing that, you just go into the toilet more. Then this is a really great way to actually absorb that hydration and absorb that extra water that you're consuming. So if you take a drink of water and then do some movements with that, you're actually forcing the water, and it's not a big exercise, just stretching, moving around. You're actually going to force that water and hydration into the bones, yes, into bones, into the tissue, into the muscles, and the body will actually be able to absorb it. Opposed to having a drink of water, sitting down, and it just trickling through the body, and then you're peeing it out. That makes sense. So you're actually going to be able to absorb that. Now, this daily movement I do every single day, pretty well first thing when I get up, or I get up and do some breathing first and then some movement. But this is literally just 5 minutes while I turn the coffee machine on, or my bone broth is heating up or something like that. And it's literally just some reaching, some stepping, some getting down on the ground, getting back up off the ground. It's just moving and feeling really good. If you implement this to your morning every day, 5 minutes of just moving, you will feel amazing. It sets you up for the rest of the day, and I can promise you that. Now, the second thing we've got is physical activity. Now, physical activity is incidental exercise that you get throughout the day. Now, this is crucial for a healthy lifestyle, and research actually shows that being physically active throughout the day, every day, reduces the risk of chronic disease more than structured exercise. So if you are hitting the gym 5 days a week, 3 days a week, even 7 days a week for half an hour, you are doing really good, kind of, if you're not smashing yourself, that is, and creating more issues. But the person next to you who doesn't go to the gym at all, but goes for a walk, they get up every hour out of their seat and they do some movements and they're out moving around. Oh, my internet connection looks unstable. I hope you can still hear me. They are actually going to be reducing the risk of chronic illness more so than the person that is going to the gym for half an hour every day and then sitting at their desk and not moving. Okay, combining them is going to be freaking awesome, but it's not a case of one or the other. So physical activity, parking further away at the shopping center and things like that is really important. Now, structured exercise with variability is important for a range of specific health concerns, such as bone density, injury prevention, strength, anti-aging, eliminating toxins, all of those kinds of things. So they all hormone support. So they all absolutely have their place. And if you can integrate each of them, you're just going to feel amazing. I can promise you that. Now, preventing physical pain has a big impact on avoiding toxic products as well. So one that I hear a lot is like people with, as we start to age, like that achy knee that's just come about all of a sudden and you don't know where it come from. The hips, the lower back pain, the sore shoulder that I didn't really do anything, but now it's just sore all the time. I can see some girls laughing in the corner. So those kinds of things are common, but they're not normal. So we often put it down to aging or just other kinds of factors. So what can actually enhance this is generally it's a long-term issue that is now just presenting, and it's presenting itself wherever your weakest spot is. So that injury you had when you were 15 has well and truly healed. It's going to be a weak spot subconsciously for you. So when you have a really stressful week, bad sleep, eating crappy, that's where the pain is going to show. Regardless of what you've done, if you've done nothing to that shoulder, that is where that's going to present. For me, it's a groin. I had a groin injury when I was like 15 years old. I pulled it was nothing major. But if I have a stressful week, if I have crappy sleep, if I'm eating crappy or not moving, that's where it presents. And initially, for years, I was like, oh, what have I done lately? I've been running too much, or I did this exercise. It must have been this. Until now, usually when it comes up, the first thing I think, what does my life look like at the moment? And it's usually because it's chaos or it's super stressful or something like that. And that's where the pain is going to present. So there's the next layer of that is anything we're consuming. So whether it's crappy foods or crappy toxic products, that inflammation is going to present in that weaker spot. So avoiding toxic products, preventing is going to help to prevent and minimize the effects of inflammation. Increasing blood flow and circulation and stimulation of the lymphatic system is also going to help to get rid of any of that inflammation and possible toxins building up in the body. So we can do this through daily movement, getting up in the morning, 5 minutes of movement, adding in some physical activity where we can, and actual structured exercise. So combining all three of these is a recipe for ultimate success and optimal health. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're not doing any movement, that you go jump in and do all three straight away. So structured exercise, I work out 3 times a week. And personally, I feel so much better. And my body looks much better than what I did when I was working out 5 to 7 days a week. Because I'm doing more physical activity, incidental movement. I'm less stressed because I'm not smashing myself. I have proper recovery, so I'm able to achieve that. So it's really important to look at both sides, that you're not overdoing it, doing everything at once, and that you're actually step back and creating a healthy lifestyle. Things that you can do forever. So that daily movement routine, physical activity, and some structured exercise. So a couple of ways that we might be able to do this is implementing a morning movement routine. Keep it simple. Do it every day and make it a habit. Get up, have a nice big drink of water, and just do some movements. It can look really silly. It can be dancing in the kitchen if you like. The kids love that. If they're around and see you, they'll do it too. So every time you drink some water throughout the day, add this little movement routine. If you're at work, you jump up and start dancing when you have a drink of water. That'll be fine. No one cares. I think it's great. You're starting a new trend in the office. But in all seriousness, every time you maybe have a drink of water, put your drink bottle a little bit further away from you. If you're someone who does drink a lot of water, so that's easy. It means you've got to get up and move. But if you're someone that's trying to enhance your water intake, you probably want to keep your water nice and close, but they can be triggers for each other. Make an effort to increase your physical activity every day. And this can be things like cleaning, gardening, shopping, getting on the playground with your kids. Yep, I'm that weird mum that's usually climbing the monkey bars and going up and down the slide and crawling under small spaces in the playground, mostly because my 2-year-old wouldn't let me not do it. But also because I could very well sit back on my phone and check emails, but that's me getting that physical activity in, forcing incidental ways of getting physical activity into my day around the structured exercise. Using a step counter can be really helpful for some people. If you're someone that likes to track your steps, likes a little bit of competition or that measurement so that you can actually measure that, have a step counter or a smartwatch or on your phone. That's really annoying though. If you do lots of steps and you forget your phone, it's not in your pocket, and you get home, you know you've done like 5,000 steps and it doesn't count them because you didn't have it with you. I used to always have that with my watch. I'd have done a massive day of like, yes, I got so many steps, and check my watch and it's gone flat. Super annoying. So be on to that. Schedule 2 to 3 structured workouts or exercises every week. Schedule them in and make them non-negotiable. A priority that's hard to break. Set it up like you would a doctor's appointment. Get a PT if you need to. We're opening out for PTs next week. If anyone needs a PT. Join different groups where you can find exercises, but schedule it in. Put it in your calendar. Schedule it in as a non-negotiable. So whether you're doing it by yourself or doing it with a friend, you need to schedule it in and make it a non-negotiable. If you go, oh yeah, I'm going to do 2 sessions this week, you're going to get to Thursday and be like, I didn't do them all. Now I'm going to try and do 2 sessions in one day. Schedule them in, make it a priority, and it will happen. Enhance recovery and performance by adding to your regime. I know most of you are oily lovers on here with us today. So the Soothing Ice Blue oil, rub that on pre-post workout, muscles, joints. This is actually going to help to stimulate the lymphatic system, to enhance the recovery of muscles and reduce inflammation as well. This is going to be really helpful. But also enhancing your recovery with some active recovery. So on your off days, you're not just sitting on your butt watching Netflix. You're actually just going for a walk or something that's still going to stimulate recovery, but in a nice, gentle way. Foam rolling is another really good one. You could spend a full hour doing some quality foam rolling. We use the Hyper Ice roller, and it's a vibrating foam roller. It's freaking awesome because you can be kind of lazy on it, and it's really going to get in there and stimulate that recovery and blood flow, circulation, all of that kind of thing. So if you know that you're someone that struggles a bit with that, grab yourself a vibrating foam roller. They're amazing. Then we have got get motivated. So motivation will only get you so far, but you do need some kind of motivation. So ready, go, get them kind of feeling. I love my Smart and Sassy oil Motivate. Some oils like that are really awesome. Inhaling them, rub them on your neck, shoulders, anything that makes you feel good. If it's cranking up music in the morning, crank up some music, things that are going to get you motivated. Write a list of things that motivate you, that light you up and inspire you to move, and do them. If you have a whole bunch of people on your Instagram of like Insta-worthy workout people that look fabulous and it makes you feel like shit, unfollow them all, because looking at a bunch of sexy people on Instagram is not going to help you create and live your healthy lifestyle unless that's what inspires you to do that. Easy Air, Peppermint are 2 other oils that are really great for opening up the airways, helping you breathe and really get that energy and oxygenation happening. All right, so if you have any notes on those, or there was anything in the activity part that you would like to create as a healthy habit, something you can implement, whether it was just a morning routine, something like that, you're going to fill it in back on that page up the top there, your healthy habit, a trigger, so when you're going to do it, whether it's setting your phone alarm, and your reward, because you will feel amazing. Perfect. Okay, so Rest and relaxation. Any questions so far? So far, so good? Cool. Okay, rest and relaxation. So what role does rest and relaxation play on the body and in living a low toxic lifestyle? How well do you sleep and rest? Because sleep is the repair and renew phase of our circadian rhythm. Without this, the body will operate and start in a deficit state. Over time, this can be immensely detrimental for your health and extremely difficult to problem solve back. Now, what I mean by that is your body's homeostasis usually sits about here. So this is its happy place. During the day, you're dipping into your stores, your hormones, digestive, physical activity, muscles, all of that. During sleep, that repairs. If we're only repairing to here, and then we're starting the day in a deficit, then we're only repairing to here. Over time, to get the body back to that optimal homeostasis is going to be super hard, super challenging, and so much backtracking. But the ideal, so generally, the ideal sleep times are between 10 and 2 is, between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. is when the body does the most amount of repairing. Now, this isn't for everyone. However, there are different, if you actually look up chrono, it's under a look, I'll check that one up for you because it's looking up your actual chronological sleep patterns, and it's a doctor that does it. I was just listening to it the other day, and you actually can do a quick quiz that will tell you what your optimal sleep times are. So they're based on different animals. So if you're a lion or a wolf or a bear. So bear is 50% of the population, which is ideal sleep times between 10 and 6. For me, I physically, to stay awake till 10 p.m. would require me to stimulate myself in one way or another. So whether it's artificial light, food stimulants, like anything like that, I physically need to do that to stay awake. Like I can have a coffee at 5 p.m. and I will still be awake at 7:30, still go to sleep at 7:30 p.m., like 8 p.m. at the latest, easily. So finding your ideal sleep times can be really beneficial as well. That's really gonna, when you wake up feeling really good, when you wake up feeling really refreshed, and having a little self-assessment before you get out of bed can be really beneficial for that too. So rather than looking at the clock and going, I could have slept for another hour, now I'm going to be tired. Actually thinking about how you feel before you look at the clock, because that can influence how you feel versus how you actually feel. Does that make sense? Because I just realized I said that in a roundabout way. So if you pick up the clock, pick up your a clock or anything next to your bed, and you look at it and it says 5:30 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. and you usually get up at 6, and instantly you're like, I could have had an extra half an hour. I feel really tired. But actually you woke up feeling really good, and it's the time itself that's now influenced how the rest of your day might pan out. So for me, I am naturally an early riser and early to bed, and I feel really good. So I do take a moment in the morning to think about that, to do some breathing, think about how I'm feeling before I actually get out and start my day. Now, how well do you sleep and rest? Because this is going to be, again, it's going to be really important, your quality versus quantity. If you're in a stage where you have really young children or just children in general that are keeping you up, or have crazy sleep patterns and things like that, or you're working shift work and things like that. So the quality of your sleep is going to be more something you would focus more on for now. I don't know if you can hear that. My kids are riding push bikes and scooters inside, I think, and it's right in my ear. Okay, so clearly on Dad's watch. So quality and quantity are equally important, and like I mentioned, just especially as you have little ones, there can be a few key things that you can do to enhance that sleep quality. Now, melatonin is our natural sleep hormone. It's prompted by sun up, sundown, or day and night, hence why we naturally start to feel sleepy as the sun goes down. And when that natural process is interrupted by technology, shift work, inconsistent bedtimes, Netflix, etc., ongoing stresses, ongoing disruption to this natural process can leave us with some serious sleep issues that can be quite difficult to reverse, as I mentioned before. Taking artificial melatonin and other hormones is also a way to really create a hormone disruptive situation. Now, having said that, smaller amounts later in life can be beneficial because our melatonin, it is something we do have to work really hard to keep up as we get older. So in some cases, melatonin is necessary, but you want to implement as many of the natural processes to optimize that as you can, because then any supplement of melatonin that you take is actually going to work beneficially for you rather than taking it for the sake of taking it. Now, let's support you in creating and achieving consistent sleep quality and managing stress. So implementing a few of these simple, consistent strategies is critical for long-term health and sustainability. All right, what can we do? Have a relatively consistent bedtime. This is super powerful, and I challenge a lot of you to try it because a lot of us get to, and that's been me for most of my life. It's Friday night, woohoo, force myself to stay awake later for the sake of it, in some cases. But now my weekend bedtime's pretty consistent. Obviously every now and then things are going to disrupt that, like having barbecues at friends' houses or something like that. But generally I'm in bed around between 8 and 8:30 every night. Yours might be a bit later, that's okay. So we're going to ideally have a relatively consistent bedtime. So the body clock is going to be, that chronological clock is going to be winding down and waking up. Now, did you know that having a late night on a Friday and Saturday night is the equivalent of being hungover on a Monday morning? There you go. In the sense of brain fog and optimal function. So there you go. Stop using technology devices, TV, etc. within 2 hours of bedtime, or use blue light blocker device or app if you're on a computer. Maybe some new TVs can even do that. We've got a pretty old TV, so ours wouldn't. Or glasses themselves. You can get the blue light blocker glasses. So this blocks the blue light that actually suppresses the melatonin. So melatonin is what naturally starts to kick in, and when you're looking at screens and things like that, it tricks the body into thinking it's still daylight. It thinks it's still sun up. So then it's going to suppress your natural melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So we've got also creating a bedtime routine. This is really powerful. We do this for children and then we completely throw our own out the window. So create it around things that you like. So what do you like? What works for you? What is relaxing for you? It might be a bath. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, some mindfulness, some comfortable stretches or movement to create some blood flow, circulation, setting up the diffuser. It might be skincare routine and looking after your kind of face, a bit of physical self-care before you head to bed. So whatever is things that you find relaxing is what you want to do to create your routine, your bedtime. So for me, I like to listen to a guided meditation or something like that as I'm heading into bed, but I've always got the diffuser set up. I've usually done some kind of skincare routine after I get my kids to bed, ideally. Sometimes if I know I'm tired or sleepy, I will start that process while they're still awake. They're usually chaos around me, but I will just ignore them while I'm doing that, because I know that likely by the time I get them to sleep, I will be falling asleep pretty soon after. So I make the effort to set up my diffuser and everything the same time I set up there, so I can jump into bed, listen to some meditation, and off I go to sleep. And I do fill in my gratitude diary every night as well. So they're just a few ideas, but whatever works for you. Enhance your sleep quality by using essential oils as well. So this really can enhance the REMs that you're getting from your sleep. So getting into that deeper REM quicker. And things like lavender peace, wild orange, vetiver, frankincense, copaiba. Any of these are going to help, and there's a few ways you can use them. By dropping it onto a drop on the pillow, you can use a diffuser, massaged into the soles of the feet or into the shoulders. Again, that's all part of the process. Taking a nice big breath in after rubbing it in as well. So again, you would choose what oils work best for you. There's a few that don't for me, like ylang ylang. I cannot use that in the diffuser at nighttime. Every time I do, I'll toss and turn and have the worst night's sleep. Copaiba, on the other hand, I could not live without, and vetiver is another one I absolutely love too. So finding what works for you, what kind of processes works for you in winding down. How's that sound? Good, nice. Beautiful. So again, flick back to that page and fill in anything that you would like to add if sleep is something you want to work on. Okay, so okay, next we're going to go through reducing toxic load. So reducing toxic load and the environmental toxins around us are super amazing for reducing brain fog, enhancing our physical self, how we feel, moods, emotions, just becoming overall feeling amazing, because that's what it's about. Now, avoiding unnecessary toxic chemicals by actively choosing natural alternatives to limit the toxic exposure. It's as simple as that. Trying your best to choose natural wherever you can. There is so many environmental toxins around that we can't avoid. Even just walking in general, like you walking down the street, someone's always standing at the front having a cigarette or loaded themselves up on some perfume that you can just smell is riddled with toxins and chemicals. There's always going to be all those air fresheners that someone's got going all of the time. There's always going to be different kinds of environmental toxins that we can't avoid. So doing the best that you can is going to really help you. So creating a safe home is really essential for reducing toxic load. And this is important because this builds up. Our body doesn't know what to do with them. It doesn't know how to excrete it and get rid of it. So we build up these toxins within the body, and then eventually they present as some kind of inflammation, chronic illness, Alzheimer's, cancer. All of those kinds of things are a result of buildup of toxins and inflammation in the body, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, or environmentally. I'm getting little notes under the door and everything now. All right, so here's a little list for you that you can print out and run around your home, maybe not run around, just stroll around and have a look and assess some of the products that you've got in your home. So reducing the toxic load by assessing your everyday products and eliminating or replacing them with natural alternatives wherever you can is a simple process that you can do for this. We've got have a few plants around the home that are really well known for purifying the air. And things like that, some peace lilies, mother-in-law's tongue is another one. And then we've got, and then we use the diffuser, certain oils that are going to help to enhance the air, getting outside and in nature as much as possible. But other ways that we can help to do that around the home is by going through this list. So this is one for you to just take the time and work through yourself at home, but looking for the below items and all the rest. This list is not exhaustive. It's just a few of the ones that I listed. There's a whole bunch of others. Open your cupboards and have a look and check them off once you've looked at the ingredients of the product and assessed them, done a little safe assessment to use if you need to eliminate or replace them, you can write little notes on it. Now, you might choose to just go room by room each week or kick some butt and do the whole lot at once. Now, how you can do this without messaging me a million photos of the ingredients and say, what is this? Because chances are you're going to look at the back of those and be like, what even is that stuff? Is it safe? Is it not? Some of them look like really crazy long words and they've got to be made up, but they're actually something that's natural. So how you can do this is by downloading the Environmental Working Group app. So EWG, it's a free app, and it's an amazing resource for seeking out natural and safe products or assessing your own. So you can type in the product, or you can if it's got one of those Q code things on it, you can scan it and it will bring up the level of toxicity of that product. So your sunscreens, moisturizers, everything. This is really cool. You can either type it in or scan it, and it will tell you what level of toxicity it is on a scale of 1 to 10, I think, or 1 to 5, 1 to 10 maybe. And you can, it will assess those products, and you can see what level of toxicity they actually are. This is really interesting. I showed my sister-in-law, who's actually a pharmacist as well, and she was like, oh no, I get this really good moisturizer. I think it was a moisturizer or something like that, like maybe a gel cleanser, or it was some kind of face product. And she was like, no, it's like all natural. There's like no ingredients in it. And we checked it up and actually looked it up on the app, and it only had a few ingredients, but I think 1 or 2 of them were actually high, were on the high list. So when we looked it up on the environmental working group, it was actually sitting down at like a 3 or 4 on the toxicity level, which is fairly high-ish. Ideally, you want your product sitting at a 1 or 2. Kitchen. So we've got stroll through your kitchen, have a look at the products. I challenge you to do that. I'd love to hear how you go, if you're surprised or if you're not really that surprised. Dishwashing liquids, tablets, all-purpose spray wipes, window cleaners, oven cleaners, fridge cleaners. Now, all of those products just there, what's there, 6 of those, I use 1 product for now. I DIY 1 mixture, and I use that to clean all of those things. So I use that as my dishwashing liquid. I use it as my dishwashing tablets. And it's just a combo of like 2 probably, actually, because the spray and wipes fit in. My spray and wipe I use as my spray and wipe, window cleaner, oven cleaner, and fridge cleaner all in one. And it's a super easy, just the On Guard Cleaner Concentrate topped up with water. And then the dishwashing liquid and dishwashing tablets, I just use by mixing up a blend of bicarb soda, citric acid, and the On Guard Cleaner Concentrate as well. And some water, and they come into perfect like tablets and stuff. I've got the recipe somewhere as well. So if anyone wants any green cleaning recipes, yell out, because I do have a whole ebook on them. But go through each of the rooms and see how you go with those. I would love to hear how you go with that part. How are we feeling? Good. So if that's something that you know is a big priority, something you've not even looked at, maybe mark it up there on your habits list or on a to-do list for you, print it out and see how you go. Okay, so last one. We are going to finish off with self-care. Yes. So creating habits around, I've got all my oily lovers on here. So creating habits around using doTERRA solutions is really helpful in supporting your wellness every day. Now, honestly, I was the mom that didn't have time for self-care. I was the mom that didn't prioritize self-care. I was the person actually prior to even being a mom that was like, I don't really like baths. It's kind of like wallowing in your own filth and dirt, and everyone on here's like, I love a bath. I'm not a fan personally. I have other ways of self-caring, but every now and then I do like to jump in a bath. But I definitely did not prioritize self-care, that's for sure. So let's face it, and this part I guess is a little bit about mums, but females in general, we are the guides in our home when it comes to general lifestyle factors and decisions and choices around cleaning products and what we're eating and what everyone's doing and exercising and things like that. It's generally influenced by us in some way. So taking action, instigating a healthier lifestyle will ensure that the rest of the family follows, or they grow knowing no different than a naturally healthy lifestyle. So my boys are classic examples of this because they definitely don't know anything different. I'm super lucky or happy that this kind of fell into my realm as they were being born, because I was looking for more natural solutions, and so they don't really know any different. Now, self-care though. Self-care does not have to be finding time and money for a massage. It could be a self-massage, reading a book, having a bath, scheduling it in and valuing it. Respect it as a date with yourself. Now, I think this is more important than the self-care process itself, because we don't. I will often say to my hubby, I'm doing this on this day. So whether it's I'm having a bath, or I'm going down the beach to read a book, or I'm getting out doing something in that time, please, you need to, not please can you, I'm not asking permission, this is what I'm doing. But if it's just one night, even then, I'm like, you need to put the kids to bed. So whether it's pre-organizing dinner and having everything ready to go, that's okay. But this is my time. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it is doing my face care regime while the kids are going crazy, while they're riding their bikes inside the house, or while they're doing things that are crazy around me. But I take the time to value that process of cleansing, moisturizing, just making myself feel nice, and that can be self-care. It doesn't have to be going out and doing something. Although going out to get a massage might be your idea of self-care, and if you can schedule that in weekly, then go for it. That's awesome. It's whatever things that you actually do value as self-care. Now, you need to truly believe you deserve it, and you'll be amazed at the care the rest of the family will start to have for themselves and for you as well. And it may take time. So some of the things that we can do to actually implement and really see these things as self-care, because sometimes we're doing these things, but we don't actually see them as self-care to ourselves. So here are a couple of things that might help you. So begin a gratitude diary. Even my hubby does this one. And so we have, and the Kmart have got some really cool ones actually. But it can be as simple as just writing down a couple of things that you're grateful for every day. There's a lot to be said for this, and it's on so many levels of self-care. Now, there is actually so much research and science going into this side of things at the moment, which is really awesome. But finishing your day, heading to bed, and writing 3 things that you're grateful for is super powerful. Using natural products to enhance the tiny moments that you do get to yourself. So if you're someone that doesn't get a lot of time to yourself, there's always either someone or something that needs to be done. In those tiny moments that you do have to yourself, using your oils, the balance oil is a great one for this. Just taking a moment to really breathe and relax. Now, breathing itself can be beneficial. So if you don't use essential oils, or that's not of interest to you, taking that moment to actually take a big breath in and slow breath out, increase the parasympathetic tone, that's a state of self-care. And seeing that as self-care is really valuable, rather than a thing I just have to do. And you're actually visualizing that as, and seeing that, accepting that as self-care. So opting for natural remedies in your first aid kit is another way that we can self-care, look after ourselves. And choosing your moods and emotions is really powerful as well. So when you get up in the morning and actually choose setting yourself your emotion for the day. So again, implementing the oils into this can be really powerful. I've got a bunch of roller bottles that stay in my kit. This is my daily kit here. But I've got these with all of the emotional range in them. So if I get up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I'm just feeling flat, I'm going to reach for Motivate, and I'm just going to pop that on, take a nice big breath in. I'm going to roll it on the back of the neck, probably the feet, use it as a perfume, and instantly that's going to make me feel motivated. So the reason for that is that it actually does trigger the limbic system in the brain. So it travels through the olfactory bulb and limbic system in the brain. So for you, if you're not using essential oils and you don't love them yet, you might be able to do that either using certain scents of food Maybe it's the smell of fresh coffee. You can do that just by teaming different senses together. So physical, emotional, all of those, but really targeting that as a whole. So whether it's touching something and breathing it in, and always if you're using the same scent for that same emotion, your body, your brain will process that before you consciously have a choice to do it. So before you consciously choose to feel that way, your brain will actually already have that process in place. So we can also do that for sleeping, for moods, for emotions, all of those kinds of things. Okay, how are we feeling? Good? Fresh? So you're going to now, next step, is to go back to that page and see if there is at least one thing that you would like to implement now. So whether that is nutritional, physical activity, rest and relaxation, reducing toxic load, or self-care. Picking something that you would like to work on that's going to enhance your health, it's going to enhance your lifestyle, that's going to make you feel better, that's going to make you maybe see life differently, or any of those kinds of things. Anyone want to share it? You can text it to me. I'd love to know. I really would. Okay, so that's the end of my brief of all of the amazing things that we can do to feel and be amazing. So I hope that's been really helpful for you. And if you do have any questions, please reach out to me and we can have a chat about them as well. Cool. Okay, how are we feeling? Everyone good? Yeah.